Have you ever contemplated the enigma of an eclipse? An eclipse, a celestial ballet where the sun, moon, and earth align, is not just a marvel of our cosmos, but also a profound symbol. It's a spectacle of darkness that gradually transitions into light, a process that mirrors the transformative journey of the human spirit. Consider the eclipse. It begins when the moon starts to obscure the sun, casting a shadow over the earth. Gradually, the world is enveloped in darkness. But this darkness is not the end. It's merely a phase, a momentary pause. And then, in an awe-inspiring display, the moon moves away, and light begins to seep through, dispelling the darkness and illuminating everything in its path. Isn't this a striking parallel to our own journey? Each of us, at some point, has faced our shadow, our eclipse. This could be a time of struggle, a period of pain, or a moment of doubt. But just like the celestial event, our personal eclipse is not a permanent state. It's merely a phase, a stepping stone in our journey from darkness to light. Take, for instance, the story of a dear friend who battled depression. She found herself in the throes of her personal eclipse, shrouded in an overwhelming darkness. But she didn't let her shadow consume her. Instead, she embraced it, accepted it, and began her journey towards the light. She sought help, she opened up about her struggle, and she took steps every day to heal and grow. It wasn't an easy journey. There were days when the darkness seemed impenetrable, but she persevered, and gradually she began to see the light at the end of the tunnel. She emerged stronger, more resilient, and illuminated with a newfound sense of self-love and understanding. Just like an eclipse, she transitioned from darkness to light, illuminating her path with courage and determination. How often do we try to reject our shadows, our fears, our insecurities? More often than not, we attempt to hide these parts of ourselves, burying them deep within, hoping they'll disappear. But what if I told you that these shadows are not meant to be feared or rejected? Instead, they are meant to be embraced, for they are integral parts of our being. Consider this. A tree is not merely what we see above the ground. Its roots, hidden beneath the surface, are just as vital. They stabilize the tree, absorbing the nutrients it needs to flourish. Similarly, our shadows, our insecurities and fears, are the roots of our being. They ground us, reminding us of our humanity and our capacity to feel deeply. Let me share a personal anecdote. Years ago, I was plagued by a fear of public speaking. The mere thought of standing before a crowd left me shivering, my heart pounding like a drum. Instead of running away from this fear, I chose to face it head-on. I joined a local debating club, forcing myself to speak in public regularly. It was terrifying, but each time I did it, the fear lessened. I started to see my fear not as an enemy, but as a challenge to overcome, a stepping stone towards growth. Or take the time I felt insecure about my writing. I was convinced it was mediocre, unworthy of being read by others. Instead of letting this insecurity cripple me, I used it as a motivation to improve. I read countless books, attended writing workshops, and sought feedback from others. Over time, my writing improved, and along with it, my confidence grew. In both cases, I didn't push away my shadows. I acknowledged them, embraced them, and used them as catalysts for growth. I learned that our shadows can be our greatest teachers if we let them. So next time you find yourself shying away from your shadows, remember this. They are not your enemies. They are your allies, your teachers, your roots. Embrace them, learn from them, grow with them. For it is only in facing our shadows that we can truly illuminate our path. In embracing my shadows, I discovered strength I never knew I possessed. What if I told you that the obstacles you face are not roadblocks, but stepping stones? And no, this isn't just a clever play on words, it's a shift in perspective that can turn your world upside down, or rather, right side up. Imagine you're in a labyrinth, each twist and turn representing the challenges we face in life. Now, for most of us, our instinctive reaction to encountering a wall in this maze would be frustration. Another dead end, we'd sigh. But what if we started to see these walls not as dead ends, but as directional signs, guiding us towards our goal? This might sound like an overly optimistic way of viewing life's hardships, but it's a mindset that's been adopted by some of the most successful people in the world. Let's take J.K. Rowling, for instance. Before she became the world-renowned author of the Harry Potter series, she was a single mother living on welfare. She faced rejection after rejection from publishers, but each one only made her more determined. The obstacles she faced weren't roadblocks, but stepping stones that led her to become one of the best-selling authors of all time. Or take Thomas Edison. His teacher said he was too stupid to learn anything. He was fired from his first 2 jobs for being unproductive, and his early attempts at inventing, 1,000 failures. But Edison didn't see these as failures. For him, they were steps on the path to success. "I have not failed," he once said. "I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." His perseverance eventually led him to invent the light bulb, transforming the way we live forever. So the next time you face an obstacle, don't view it as a roadblock. See it as a stepping stone, a sign that you're on the right path. Because the truth is, obstacles don't exist to stop us. They exist to shape us, to make us stronger, wiser, more resilient. They force us to grow, to adapt, to evolve. Obstacles do not block the path, they are the path. Have you realized how the darkness is necessary to appreciate the light? This is not just a philosophical musing, but a fundamental law of existence. Life, much like the cosmic dance of the sun and moon during an eclipse, ebbs and flows between light and darkness. Our journey is not always bathed in sunlight. There are periods when we find ourselves in the shadows, grappling with challenges and uncertainties. These are the dark phases of our life, times when we may feel lost, confused, or even defeated. But it's during these times that we truly find our strength. Let's consider a story of a woman named Sarah. Sarah had always been an upbeat, positive person until a series of unfortunate events led her into a period of deep sadness. She lost her job, her relationship ended, and she felt as though she was enveloped in a darkness she couldn't escape from. But Sarah, instead of succumbing to despair, chose to see this period as a time for introspection, growth, and transformation. She began to understand that her dark phase was not a punishment, but an opportunity. It was a chance to reassess her life, realize what truly mattered to her, and make changes that aligned with her true self. When the dawn finally arrived, Sarah emerged from the shadows stronger, wiser, and more resilient than before. She appreciated the light of her life more because she had experienced the darkness. Sarah's story is not unique. Each of us has our own dark phases. It's during these periods that we're given an opportunity to grow, to change, to transform. It's in the darkness that we find our light. So the next time you find yourself in a dark phase, remember Sarah. Remember that it's not a punishment, but an opportunity. An opportunity to grow, to change, to find your light. The darkness is necessary to appreciate the light. It's a part of our journey, a part of our growth. We must learn to navigate through it, to embrace it, and to transform it into light. Every night has a dawn, every shadow has its light. Are you ready to transform your shadows into light? The journey we've embarked on today, much like the eclipse, is one of profound transformation. It's a journey that begins within, in the depths of our shadows, and leads us towards the brightness of our inner light. Think of your shadows as hidden aspects of yourself, waiting to be acknowledged and embraced. These shadows may manifest as fears, insecurities, or past traumas. Acknowledge them. See them for what they truly are. Parts of you that are crying out for love and acceptance. By shining a light on your shadows, you're offering them compassion, and in return, they lose their power over you. Now, consider the obstacles you face. They are not roadblocks, but rather stepping stones on your path to growth. Each challenge is an opportunity for you to learn, to become stronger, and to move one step closer towards your true self. Don't shy away from these obstacles. Instead, approach them with curiosity and courage. Remember, the most beautiful views come after the hardest climbs. Finally, appreciate the darkness. It may seem counterintuitive, but the darkness is not something to be feared. Rather, it is a canvas on which the light can truly shine. Without darkness, light would have no meaning. It's the contrast between the two that creates the beautiful spectacle of an eclipse. Similarly, it's the contrast between our struggles and victories that make our lives meaningful. So, as we conclude our journey today, remember these practical tips for transformation. Acknowledge your shadows, view obstacles as opportunities, and appreciate the darkness for the light it brings. You are not alone on this journey. Just as the moon doesn't fear the eclipse, you need not fear the shadows. With courage, patience, and love, you can transform these shadows into light, illuminating your path and revealing your true, radiant self. Remember, an eclipse is not about the darkness, but the remarkable light that follows.